Sometimes things seem easier on the internet than they do in real life. If you're just starting out key programming, or maybe you've been doing it for a while, there's a lot of information really that you have to kind of dig your way through, and like what's important, what's not important. And it can be tough and it can be a little overwhelming, right? Because when you start out key programming, it's like, I want to do everything, I want to do it all. And it's really just not that simple. But what I want to do is I want to really start at the ground level, and I want to start building up your knowledge. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to bring on two guys that have a lot of information when it comes to key programming that I know and respect. And I just want them to kind of share a little bit of information with you, and I really hope that it's helpful. Now, both Brook and Tony, I've known them for a long time, when they were working at Advanced Diagnostics, and I started selling Advanced Diagnostics programming equipment, I think 2006, 2007-ish, somewhere right around there. And so they've been around a long time, they've seen a lot, and I'm really excited to get them to kind of share their perspectives with you.
Well, hello, my name's Brook Francisco. I work for Advanced Diagnostics in Cabo Ilco on the tech support side. I answer the calls for the Smart Pro, T-Code, MVP programmer. I'm a practicing automotive locksmith also. I've been doing that about 12 years. I get to use the machine and I get to support it. So I kind of see both sides. And kind of the focus of this thing we're doing today is to, focus on just some introductory issues that I see, people having with the machine, and hopefully, make it easier for you, getting started with it.
Absolutely, Brooke. So, for the amount of time that not only you've been practicing actually automotive key programming, but tech support, I imagine you've seen a lot over the years.
Yeah. It's basically, it seems a lot more people are doing it. It was kind of in the beginning, it was kind of focused to a few guys that would just do automotive. Now we're seeing a lot more people that, they do other forms of locksmithing, other industries that may be using the machine. It's just kind of a much larger user base. The other flip of the coin is we've seen that the manufacturers are making it much more difficult, and as the technology advances in the vehicles, the key programming is getting more advanced.
Absolutely. Yeah, it really seems, I think a part that kind of gets missed in the aftermarket world sometimes is the simple fact that as that technology changes, right, like companies like Advanced Diagnostics have to wiggle their way around, figure out how to do it, and technology today is quite advanced.
It is completely. When you think about it, in 1998, I think Ford had one or two transponder keys that would cover the entire line. Now, you got to look at probably 300 SKUs for each different kind of fob or prox or, design key or whatever. And that's just on the Ford side. There's, tons more parts, and they don't always interchange. The programming's gotten advanced. There's just a lot more to it now. Yeah. So basically, a lot, initially when these guys get the machine as a user, the first thing you're kind of going to have to do is get it registered and get it loaded, which especially with updates, we recommend doing that about twice a month. And essentially there's two ways to do it. The initial way we recommend is through the PC loader. And then the other way, which is quicker and easier, and you'll also need this, in the field sometimes, is through the Wi-Fi. So initially when you get the machine, I would highly recommend, checking out our videos that show how to use the PC loader, installing that from our website, and doing the initial registration and update through the PC. And once that's done, then the machine should be up and ready to use. You can do the initial registration through the Wi-Fi. Sometimes we do have more issues with that. So it is important to be familiar with the PC loader. And in addition, sometimes if you're having issues with the machine, you may need the PC loader to try to do a recovery or other kinds of ways to remedy issues with the machine versus the Wi-Fi.
what I hear you saying is you essentially can't use the machine until it's registered, right?
Exactly. Yeah. When you get it, it basically, you need to do the registration. It serves a couple purposes. If you purchase the machine on subscription, it'll basically load the subscription. The subscription doesn't start until you actually go to a vehicle. But the other important thing is it kicks off the warranty. So that, the machine may have, been on a distributor shelf for a couple months. You don't want that, you don't want that time coming off your warranty time. So the initial registration kicks off the warranty.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point because, I mean, like when I get a new fridge or a new, washer dryer, like I never register them, and like,
Right.
you should, but
Right.
you just plug them in and start using them, right? And I think that's kind of something that someone can do when they bought their Smart Pro, they got it, and let's plug that sucker in and, see how it works. And
Right.
you're going to get stopped in your tracks on that.
The next biggest thing we see is, where do I get information about the cars? And that what we've decided is the way we're going forward with that is we don't have a manual any longer. What we're using is an app, which is the My Keys Pro app. And this app, I mean, I use it all the time on tech support. Once you get it installed on your, phone or however you're going to use it, they have a desktop version. It's great. It basically will tell you which vehicles are covered. Key blanks. It'll give you pictures of the connection, additional hardware, all that kind of nuts and bolts information that the locksmith will need, when he's taking a job. And essentially it ties in a little bit to another issue that we get a lot of, which is additional hardware that's not sold with the kits that these guys need. Kind of the two biggest ones I hear of are the two Chrysler cables, the ADC 2011 and the 2012. The kits generally are not sold with these, but if you got a good, distributor that when they sell the machine, highly, highly recommend including those with it. On those Chrysler vehicles, we get a lot of people that, they've had the machine, they've done a couple jobs, they'll go out to a 2020 Ram or a Pacifica and they just won't have the cable to interface with it. The other big one is the pre-coding aerial. Not as big a deal. It's a little more expensive. It's kind of a little more advanced tool, but some vehicles you will need that to complete the job. And that information all is in My Keys Pro.
Absolutely. And I think it's kind of a learning process, especially if you have maybe a little bit of experience of programming some of the older vehicles and all of a sudden like the new stuff and how much is involved with that now. Right. And like, I know when I go out and program keys for the different videos that we do, I'm on the My Keys Pro app looking, right? I mean, like just knowing after a while, you start to get an idea of where to put the prox key for programming, right?
Right.
But if it's a vehicle you haven't really done before, being able to go and look on the app and see exactly where to put that prox is just a time saver. You're not guessing, you're not doing, random Google searches. You're able just to really kind of get to work. Now, Brooke, I have a question for you. Something that got me was I had someone who watches our YouTube channel point something out that I never thought of. And I'm just curious, since you also program car keys, how do you handle this? So a lot of times when you're programming a prox key, right? You technically only can have the one you're trying to program in the vehicle, right? The other one you have to get out. Now, I, for the longest time, was opening the door, setting it on the ground, knowing that's kind of a bad practice, but you're in the middle of programming. So, you're just doing what you're doing. And someone recommended getting one of those signal hiding pouches. Do you use one of those?
The Faraday bags or whatever they call. Yep. Yeah. I don't personally use them. What I do, I usually take it out, but they do totally work. What some other guys do is they'll take the battery out of the key when they're doing it. But I think the Faraday bag is like one of the best things to use for that, because you can just zip it up and it hides the signal. So it definitely is the way to go.
Now, if you like videos like this and want to see more like them, go ahead and hit that like button. It lets us know you want to see more.
A lot of these beginner guys, know you're a key supplier. I mean, that's huge. We've, these guys will get the machine, they'll start, landing jobs that they maybe haven't done before. And a lot of them are these customer supplied or Amazon keys that they don't know where they come from, and they fail, so that's my big thing is, know your distributor. You got, respectable distributors like CLK, other big name distributors that sell the parts that work. This offshore stuff, it works sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it causes issues with the car. And then other times it may come back 2 weeks later. And we've got customers out there that are, using their tokens, their time on customers' parts that don't work. You totally can do that, but you have to charge for it. We have guys calling and say, hey, I wasted a token on this. We tell them, it's like, don't base your business on customer supplied parts. You have to charge regardless. Get quality parts when you're doing it. You can use the stuff they want to use, because, you can't turn the business down, but, you got to be prepared to charge for that. That's my last big issue that I see with the beginners,
Absolutely. I think that's a really great point, right? Like, we live in this world of key supply that has mass saturation.
Completely.
Right. And it's very difficult to really, we can talk about FCC ID numbers and that sort of thing, but it's on the surface level, they all kind of look the same.
Yep.
Right. And it typically takes programming one and having the customer leave and then come back or call you in an emergency at a grocery store, before you're like, oh, wow, yeah, maybe there was a reason that one was $5, right?
Right. Yeah. So no, that's a huge one. But yeah, quality supplies. And, unfortunately in this world, you can't run a business denying customer supplied parts, but if you're going to do it, you have to charge regardless of the outcome.
From the aspect of customer service and sales side of it, number one is, Brook made a very good comment there about, be linked to a good distributor. Make sure that you're getting quality products. And again, CLK, I think, is right at the top when it comes to that. Being proactive, being knowledgeable, in helping the end user set them up so that they don't have these situations in the field is very important. So what you're doing daily, PJ, with CLK Group and these podcasts that people can learn from, and the services that you provide and the type of product lines that you carry, I think is essential, as we're a partnership as manufacturer and distributor, to bring the best service, quality, and knowledge to the end user. So I think that's very important. Other aspects too, that again with the Smart Pro, being a leader in this is what really defines a leader. And the first thing I always say is that we have the broadest coverage, pretty much any equipment out there today. So at 74, 75 loads of software, soon to be more. We have several in the pipeline right now that are being tested. That really puts a stamp on where we're going, where we've come from, where we're at today, and where we're going tomorrow. We also have in place, for those who have been with us for a while and may have still be operating with an older piece of equipment, aggressive exchanges, to bridge them from old to new. And we also offer, which has kind of probably died off a little bit in interest, but I think there's still opportunity out there, especially for those who like to manage by software and own it. We have the software, what we call the software kit options, that cover the actually 7 vehicle lines. They put Toyota and Subaru together. So there are 7 vehicle lines that are involved in that kit option pricing that allows a customer to aggressively top off or add to their software. And again, the key for the end user is to be able to do the job, be able not, be in the position to take the job on. I think you guys covered some great points about, the accessories like the Chrysler cables. And you really have to define in everyone's territory, end user's territory, what they're going to see most days in and out, what vehicles that they're going to be dealing with, whether it's going to be domestic or a mixture of foreign and domestic, high end, low end, older vehicles, newer vehicles. So they have to make sure that they talk with their distributors or talk with us even. I take a lot of calls from end users every day, and we have discussions about how are you set up? How are you managing your equipment? And that's very important. And I think that's done too at CLK. So hats off to you, PJ, and your group for what you guys do on a daily routine.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think, there's been a lot of really great points made, and it's really, I think the undertone of everything we've talked about today has really been just like, take a minute, get prepared, and don't just, like all of us have been there, right? We've all gotten a call to go program a key or a job or something. And next thing you know, we're flying down the road, pumped up, all excited. And then you get there and it's just like this big mess, and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have the right key. Can I even find one around here right now? And all that other stuff. So taking your time, being thorough, being very familiar with that MyKeys Pro app, honestly, like that's something for me. Like if I was practicing Locksmith today and someone calls me wanting me to program a key to a vehicle. Now, unless it's one I'm very familiar with, I would literally have the app up and I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, what exactly is it going to take to program this? And can I do it today, right? Well, Brook, Tony, it has been an absolute blast having you both on here, hanging out, and I really appreciate it.
I missed my Topo Chico this morning, but I'll get it this afternoon for lunch.
Yes, good stuff.
They make a lime one. I just saw it the other day. It's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
All right. Well, listen, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
PJ, for your time and allowing us to do this podcast with you. Look to do more.
Absolutely. Sounds good. Thanks.
All right.
Thanks, PJ. I'll be sure to troll you on Reddit too. So
take it easy, guys.
Yeah, we'll see you.
Take care.
I tell you what, that was an absolute great conversation. Brook, Tony, thank you so much for coming on and sharing some of your knowledge. It's always fun hanging out with you. But for all of you watching, I would really love to know what your thoughts are and what kind of questions you have in the comments below. And make sure that you include the hashtag Lockboss to automatically get entered in to win one of 5 free prizes we give away every week on Tuesday on YouTube. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. No, I'm sure I'll. Hey everyone, PJ here. When it comes to key programming, no, I'm not gonna do that, I'm sorry. Is key programming really as easy in person? No. Is key programming really easy? No. Key programming. Key. When it comes to key programming, when you're starting out learning how to, is key programming difficult? Sometimes things seem easier on the internet than they do in real life.